welcome to another episode of The Marital Mission. I'm your co-host, Shamika McDowell.
And I am your other co-host, Lito McDowell.
And we are The Marital Mission. So this episode, we are discussing aging and aging gracefully in marriage and what that looks like.
Feels like.
And the fears associated with it.
Mm-hmm. And the sounds that are associated with it.
The pains that are associated with it.
Mm-hmm. Cracking bones.
Yeah.
Gas that is often passed.
Oh, gosh. We didn't need that part.
Hey, get ready for it if you hadn't already experienced it.
It's only been 7 years, so we're not talking a long time. But I guess we can take it back even further than that, because we did meet when we were, 21, 22, 23?
Yeah, early 20s.
Yeah. So it's been about 10 years plus.
Yeah, it's been more than that. Yeah, definitely been more than that.
It's only been 12 years. 13?
Yeah.
Man, you act like it's been 15, 16, 17 years.
Hey, the years matter when you get up and when you get past 30.
I guess. Anywho, let's start from the beginning. How we were then.
Yeah, mindset, physically. Yeah. And where we are today, and I guess where we hope to be, and all that good stuff. For sure. I'll say I was not in the mindset of having a family, considering family life, when I slid on your wall. When I initially reached out to you, I didn't have committed relationship in mind. And so, I was a year out of college, and...
No, I meant start from the relationship when we were in a relationship versus us being in a relationship right now.
Well, I mean, that was the beginning. Like, I'm just telling you, when I first met you, I didn't have, I'm going to get married in mind. Mm-hmm. So the way I approached the relationship was a lot different than where I am now. The level of commitment was definitely different. The things that I considered, the way that I consider you in the everyday decisions that I make varied a lot.
Consider me more, is what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. Consider you with just about everything I do. Besides, just about everything I do.
Should be everything you do.
Well, I mean, I can go there. You don't want me to go there.
Now I do. I want you to go there now.
Which way I wipe? I don't consider you.
Oh my God.
You asked for it.
Keep going.
As far as physically, hey, I was in the fountain of my youth. My mama told me that I was one of the most handsome young men on earth.
Diet be damned.
Hey, I was in shape then.
No, I mean your eating habits. Even still.
I wasn't eating bad then.
This is me you're talking to.
At the time when I met you, I was not eating bad.
When did you start eating badly?
I mean, there have been pockets of times, but at the time when I met you, I wasn't. Most of the food that I was eating at that time was home cooked meals. I wasn't drinking soda. I had given up soda. I wasn't really drinking alcohol. So, yeah, the time I met you. Now, when I
meats with no sides.
I mean,
Whataburger. Well, Whataburger entered the picture later, huh?
That's what, but no, it was like a pocket of time. The pocket of time when I met you, things were better.
Okay.
I mean, I was jobless, so you know what I'm saying. I really wasn't spending a whole bunch of money on things. I was drinking lots of water. Lots of water. Did I have my fro? I didn't have my fro when I met you. I started growing it. But yeah, I was cool. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't doing it necessarily for health reasons, but I was being more healthy at the time. When we did started dating, I became a lot more unhealthy in what I ate because we started to date and I was going to Chili's and, you know, we would go to little spots and I would eat things that I previously hadn't eaten. So
okay,
maybe you were a negative influence on my eating
Wasn't
habits.
I a vegetarian at the time?
You were
So-
for a slight bit, but then Maggie Moo's entered the picture, so I'm not.
Vegetarians
Oh.
can have ice cream.
Okay,
So,
yeah,
okay.
but then that stuff you was eating really wasn't healthy though. Not all of it.
Not all of it, no.
Yeah, so we're not gonna throw rocks and hide our hand.
Wasn't aware I was throwing rocks at you.
I felt a little pebble.
Well, perception and reality.
I got you. But you know, hey, I was, you know, had a lot of vigor at that age.
You sitting here sounding like a 65-year-old man.
I feel like it right now.
Oh, yeah, we worked out today.
Yeah, it was my first day back in the gym.
And how long?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. So I promise a massage later
Yeah.
for your troubles.
Yeah. My back is broken.
Spinal.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's just life was a lot different back then. You know, when you're in your early 20s, you
Are so carefree.
yeah, you don't like
I almost miss
light
those
at the end of the tunnel. What is that? There is no tunnel. You don't even
Turn up.
Yeah. It was, you just have at that age, you're still like, I have my whole life ahead of me.
Oh, yeah.
You can still say that like with confidence then.
With your chest out. With a smile.
Right?
Yeah.
And then 13 years later.
Ooh, it goes by so fast. You wake up, you literally look up and you're like, I'm the old head in the room now.
You've officially crossed over to your late 30s.
How did we get here? It came so fast.
Well, technically, I still am mid 30s.
For what, 2 more months?
Hey. Yeah. Back then, you know, we broke up, we made up a few times. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, you know, hey, got life ahead of us. We get back together if it's meant to be.
And then what, 5 years later?
No.
It was 5 years later when you proposed.
Oh, talk about meeting and then, yeah, yep. And then that was late 20s. So now it's like 30 is like right around the corner. So you're like, man, gotta start making some adult decisions at this point in time. That wasn't all, you know, definitely realized that you're the love of my life and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. But now it's like, you know, hey, I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Not figuratively, but literally.
Right? Like, this is a decision I have to make right now. And considering where are we going to live?
Yeah.
And now a house is involved.
Yeah.
A mortgage. Yeah, so.
Buying vehicles, putting large purchases in each other's names.
Yeah. Yep. Physically, though, still.
Yeah, we still popping. We
still popping late
active.
20s. Even though that was probably one of the first times that I started to gain weight.
That's that happy weight, baby. That's what that was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely around the time that we got married. I was eating. Now you're talking about eating unhealthily.
Yeah. That's when I looked at you. I was like, now, if you're going to survive this marriage and be around for our children.
Yeah. And I mean, and you know, let's keep things in perspective. Like, I've never cracked 200 in my life.
That doesn't mean you're healthy, though.
No. I'm just trying to get, you know, so people know that I wasn't just out here like down bad.
And you're what, 6 foot even?
Yeah. 6 foot even. You know, I think at that time I was around maybe like 183. Mm-hmm. But like body fat percentage was like
crazy.
Yeah. And, you know, I was like slaughtering whole pizzas for a meal. And that would just be like one meal. My work schedule was crazy. I was eating good, boy. Like lunch was the highlight of my day almost, because I would just
do way too much.
Oh man, Bishop Arts District, shout out to y'all, cause
wow.
Yeah, man. I was trying everything.
Yeah, and then we got back together, and I was like, things have to shake.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you proposed that question of going vegan shortly after marriage, and like, ¿por qué? Like, what are you talking about? Vegan.
But to your credit, I applaud you. You've always been open to new things with me.
Yeah.
And even though that was your first reaction, you did consider it.
Yeah. But, you know, now, again, had you asked me that in our dating phase in my early 20s,
we wouldn't be married right now.
Nah, I wouldn't take it that far. But you might have felt a little disrespect from how, and I don't mean that like I would actually disrespect you, but I would have been so against it. It would have been crazy.
I could see young Lito debating that.
Yeah. But I did start to consider, though, like, man, you know, I'm not just living for myself anymore. Mm-hmm. I have to, you know, definitely put you and future family ahead of my own selfish interests. So, yeah, was making those decisions.
Life decisions.
So what about you? Let's delve into your world for a few.
Well, coming from a military family, my eating habits, that's where they came from.
Okay.
So I've always been, we ate chicken and vegetables so much, I got sick of the Yardbird and didn't want to see a squash ever again.
Okay.
I could set my clock by it just because, you know, you have to be a certain weight when you're in the military, and I wouldn't buy no groceries. So you eat what's cooked.
Yep.
Or take your little money that you get from your job and buy what you can.
Yeah.
Which is what I did, you know, since I made the choice to go vegetarian in high school. And I was a vegetarian for a while, probably like 4 or 5 years. So I won't go that far. Nope. Maybe less than that. But I would go on and off. Like, I think I was a vegetarian until like 17, 18. And then I was on again, off again.
Okay.
So I've always been mindful of what I eat. Now, there are some times that I just say, whatever. I'm
glad you cleared that up, that you were on again, off again, because I'm sitting here like, we used to get it in. We used to eat crawfish, enough fans to blow your hair.
Oh, yes. That's why I said on again, off again.
Yeah. I started feeling guilty for a while. Like, hold on. I broke a 4 or 5 year.
No.
Got you.
Because there were plenty of days, college days. Yeah. You eat what you can in college.
Hey, the struggle is real.
So, yeah. And then mindset wise, I would say I had a plan. I've always had a plan. I'm going to college. I'm getting my degree. possibly 2, and I'm getting a job. Hopefully within that time frame, find my husband and we have kids, the whole, what you're supposed to do as an American.
Yeah.
Didn't quite work out that way. Got the degrees and met a young, fine fellow.
Strapping lad.
Who?
Where you from, though? LAB.
What's the B?
Bottom.
Oh, my gosh. Didn't think I would meet anybody in Louisiana, specifically where we're from.
Yeah.
And came into my life and we dated, and we actually met when I was in graduate school. No? Right before that.
Right before. You had just yeah, it was in between that stage.
Yeah. And I was figuring out if I wanted to jump right back into school or not. And I decided to take a semester off. Yeah. So we met. Then it was like, okay, I'm getting this degree. Life is good. We break up, get back together a few times. Wind up moving to Houston and just living the single life. And
dating recklessly.
Nah.
Drinking till you pass out.
No. None of that. Once I got out of college, that was that.
Hey, single life for some people
continues forever. Yeah.
Come on.
That wasn't my testimony.
Gotcha.
So just working and purchased the house, and it was funny. I heard, I don't know if it was a sermon or if I was watching something on TV, but I was pondering at the time whether or not I should purchase a house. And I said, well, I don't want to purchase a house. And what if I meet my husband and then we can purchase a house together? That was my plan.
Yeah.
And I think a good girlfriend of mine at the time was like, well, why don't you just purchase a house for you? If you want a house, go ahead and buy a house. You don't have to wait. That might not be in the cards for a while.
Yeah.
And stabbed me in the chest a little bit, but I was like, you know what? She's actually right. Like, if I want to purchase the house, I'm in a good spot, I can do that. Wound up doing that, and around the same time we got back together again.
Yep.
Just like that. So It must have been meant to be.
Hey.
I fought it. I did. I fought the feelings, but
superpowers.
You're Superman. You are.
You gonna get in that kitchen and cook and clean and make them tacos, ain't you?
I'm a cook. I'm a clean.
Yeah. So I want to double back because I'll say that, the period that I was in, or the kind of what shaped my mindset at the time, was that year after college for me was a bit different. I had a plan, but like Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until they get smacked in the mouth, right?
Or is it punched in the mouth?
Hey, it's punched, and it was a punch. And so that's kind of what happened with me in college. I had this plan, and I planned on going to, I had a lot of crazy plans that like just weren't rooted in reality.
Like what? You wanted to be a rapper?
No, I wanted to be an accountant for the mob.
You did tell me that.
Yeah.
They don't like what do they call us?
Mullions.
Oh, what a dream.
What a dream.
What a dream that was.
All right. So I got punched in the mouth when I took my first accounting class. I was like, this might not be what I'm going to do. And so, kind of struggled through college, not really studying, just kind of.
Weren't you working out at the time?
Yeah, I worked out off and on, throughout college. I took weightlifting a few times, and there were times where I took it more seriously than others. But you mean in college?
Yeah.
Yeah, in college, I definitely worked out.
I didn't work out, but I strutted And that will keep you in shape.
Yeah.
It will definitely keep dancing. All of that kept me in shape.
Yeah. And then, just kind of had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol too at that time.
I think college experience.
Graduating college in 4 years, GPA just really wasn't what I wanted it to be. And so when I graduated, I was having a hard time because I moved back home and having a hard time finding employment. And I remember just kind of like, man, this is different from what I expected it to be. Mm-hmm. And I took that. Well, I didn't take a year. I was looking for work, but moved back home and, had that talk with my parents, and they were like, hey, you can stay here till you figure things out. And I began to just immerse myself in reading and just try to gain as much knowledge as I could. And it was at that time that I began to do a lot of self-reflection, and I began to gain a sense of knowledge of self. And it just kind of shaped a lot of things for me. So,
and can I say this really quickly?
Yes.
I want you to know that is probably more formative than the 4 years that you spent in college for a reason. I feel that was God's time to sit with you, and you gained such a great understanding of yourself. I really think that was pivotal in the man that you are today. And I don't want you to minimize that because you didn't get whatever knowledge in college, because I don't think that, no shade, no tea, that Louisiana Tech could have given you what you needed.
No doubt. Yeah, I agree with you. Those years, I don't think I reflect on that year enough. And that year kind of grew into just kind of a life past that point. But yeah, I agree. I do, or I did at the time, kind of kick myself. I'm like, man, because reading recreationally was something that I didn't do a lot of. I was forced by my parents, growing up to read. And I never really, I guess, found my niche. And having to walk up to that library and check out books, about flowers and stuff.
What y'all know about checking out books?
Man, with your library card, right? Looking at the card catalog.
Dewey Decimal System.
Come on, Dewey Decimal. Come on. Yeah, one of my work studies in college was actually working in the library.
Really?
And I don't think I checked out one book during that time. But yeah, so I'm back at home. I'm in Shreveport, and so my routine daily was I would wake up, I would read the Bible for about maybe 30 minutes. Then I would read either a fiction. I think I would read a fiction book for a period of time, and then I'll read a nonfiction book kind of as dessert, right? No. Switch that up. I'll read a nonfiction book, then I'll read a fiction book, and then I would do the reverse before I went to sleep.
That boy smart.
Man, like I was retaining so much information. Like spiritual was being fed. I was learning about the world, before, and what the world was now, and like what the world meant for me and my place in the world, and then just some crazy stuff. And still to this day, my homegirl Karen recommended So You Call Yourself a Man.
By who?
Carl Weber or Weber.
Okay.
And
we'll put it in the show notes.
There was a spin. I'm not going to tell y'all what it is, but there was a spin in there. I didn't appreciate that spin.
Oh.
Yeah. And
maybe we won't put it in the show notes.
Yeah, I mean that was a rich time for me, And I told myself, like, you know what? I'm not going to be in a relationship right now. I'm just growing. I need to just be with myself and be with God and like see who it is that this world needs me to be, and abstain from sex. And so when I met you, I was coming kind of out of that phase, ready to now. Kind of like that was my cocoon phase. And then it was like, okay, I'm ready to.
I got that butterfly, y'all.
Yeah, you got it. You got that butterfly.
No.
And meeting me at that time, your opinion of who I was.
I called him a snow globe because I felt that if I touched him, I would smudge the goodness all on him.
And shake my world up.
I would shake it up. Toss it up. Which I did anyways.
Little did you know.
You about as smudged and shaking up as I am.
Yeah.
But your smudge and shaking up is my smudge and shaking up. So it works.
It works. So I just kind of want to give that. And I had it was around that time. I think maybe and within a couple of weeks of meeting you on our first date, I got hired for my first job.
Mm-hmm. You see how God works? Mm-hmm. When we take time to do what we need to do. I bought the house. We got back together. Mm-hmm. You took care of yourself. I entered the picture.
Mm-hmm. And it was at that time that my relationship with money had changed too. Mm-hmm. Because in reading, growing up, I did not want I'd say anything. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't necessarily taught money like intentionally.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the story of
a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people. Just kind of seeing, I saw my mom handle the bills. I saw my dad, he was the sole breadwinner. I don't know. I didn't see a lot of struggle, but I didn't see a lot of excess either. So it's just kind of, I just knew the relationship with money was just kind of non-existent, but at the same time, I just felt like if you want to do something or you want to get something, you can get it, right? Because there was very few times, like I say, where maybe I wanted something or needed something like shoes or something like that or clothes for school, or even video games and that type of thing. They would get it for me. Yeah, when I was old enough to get my own money, I maxed out a credit card in college. I think I got it my senior year in high school. It was a dealer's charge card. Mm-hmm. And yeah, whenever I would go to New Orleans on one of those weekend trips and needed some clothes, I just go to the mall, swipe, get a new pair of shoes, get a new shirt, polo, whatever, right?
I'm glad you got all that out your system before we met.
What? So, that during that phase, I'm like, okay, I got to pay this off. So first job, paid that credit card off, and I closed it immediately. Now, that's something that I wish I had not have done at the time. Mm-hmm. But, lesson learned. But anyways, I'm working, I'm saving money. The majority of the money that I was spending were probably like dates that we would go on. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, I wasn't really drinking at the time. I wasn't really eating out a lot. I had this plan. And so at this time, interest rates were booming. So,
before the crash.
Yeah, before the crash, I had an ING online savings account. I had an HSBC online savings account. Mm-hmm. And I was probably saving close to 70% of my checks. Now, I wasn't making a lot of money, but I was saving a lot of money and I was invested. I think I had like $1 million life insurance policy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The job was going to kill you intentionally to get a piece of that money.
Hey, because I had so my homeboy Elvin,
$1 million life insurance policy.
He gave me the book, The Millionaire Next Door, and so like that helped change my frame of thought on money. So I was saving, I was tithing at the time, as well. So like after my 90 days, I applied for another position, got a raise, not making a lot of money, but in that time frame, I think I may have worked at that job maybe like a year and 3 months. And I ended up saving close to $15,000. So financially, that's where I was. Mm-hmm. And then, like you say, after we broke up, you were in grad school and then you ended up moving to Houston. Well, I had moved to Atlanta, living fast in Atlanta.
Yeah.
A lot of like what I had discovered about myself, I felt that given my age and now, I'm in my mid 20s and I'm not where I think I should be. And I'm looking at friends and people that were my age and where they were with their careers and things. Part of that led me to begin to live a life that was not really conducive to me realizing the dream or goals that I had for myself. And still, though, doing that work helped bring me back. Mm-hmm. Then we end up, reconnecting. So, yeah. So now we're married, right? Mm-hmm. And we're late 20s. We're eating healthy. We have this house that we're living in together. We end up making the purchase of a family vehicle, right? Kind of thinking that, hey, this family's going to grow soon. Mm-hmm. So you gave up your sports car, your convertible.
Oh, it hurts.
And we purchased the, what do you call it? Sport SUV.
Is that what we call it?
I don't know what it is. But, right, just kind of thinking that, hey, I mean, we're looking at crash ratings and gas mileage,
safety and all that good stuff.
Yeah. If we travel, we're going to have enough room to put
luggage and kids in, because we weren't doing a minivan.
Yeah.
So let's get as most bang for our buck that we can.
But still at the time, just kind of rediscovering each other.
Yeah.
And enjoying life.
So then our mindset had to change, and we touched on that in a previous episode where we had to switch from, okay, in terms of aging, we're not single anymore. We're not young kids anymore. We got to grow up and realize that there's this other person that you have to consider now.
Yeah. And so I think investing in our health and getting gym memberships, being more conscious of what we put into our bodies. At this time, my relationship with alcohol had definitely gotten better. I wasn't really drinking often, and definitely more in a moderation. We did the vegan thing for a while, and then after not being vegan anymore, taking into consideration what we eat, what we put into our bodies. Yeah, I think even like music that we listened to and enjoyed changed. I was like mid-20s to late 20s was really ratchet appreciation years for me.
We come from the city that coined the term.
Yeah, Ratchet City. New York has a completely different definition of ratchet
but
they use, and that's different.
Right.
They're a gun is a ratchet for them.
Yeah, we ain't talking about that.
So yeah, we ain't talking about that. So we have listeners from all over.
Okay.
Shout out to them, our listeners from all over.
Yeah.
Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. We see y'all. So yeah, just a lot of music that did not feed the soul, but it definitely made you
want to dance and
come on,
shake it up.
Yeah.
Bounce it.
Yeah, my shoulders, you know what I'm saying? Got to contain them right now. And even the people that we associated ourselves with and who we allowed in our circle, that started to change.
Yeah. Not for me. I think the same people. Now, we may not be, I was about to say an old term, click tight, but.
Well, I mean, on a day-to-day basis, being that we were not in the city that we grew up in.
Yeah.
So meeting new people, and at this time, I was meeting a lot of new family members.
Oh yeah.
And so just and then church members, and just trying to figure out, who are we going to befriend? Who are we going to spend time with? And we end up spending a lot of time just with each other.
Yeah.
And even coworkers, at certain points in time. So that's more so what I'm speaking of.
Yeah.
Just being conscious of, we're married. We want people that are going to be in our lives that aren't going to take away from what our goal was as a young married couple.
Right. Yeah. Again, that age thing makes you start reconsidering things. And you should start seeing a change for the better as you age. Mm-hmm. We can't just say, you getting older in numbers and years. Most people don't make any changes. I won't say most, but some people don't.
Yeah.
But you should, especially if you're married, you want to progressively consider things and people.
And as you age in marriage, your mistakes are going to be made.
Yeah.
Those are learning experiences. You learn what to do and you learn what not to do.
Yeah.
You learn who to associate yourself with and who not to. So you learn all of these things, and prayerfully you start to apply wisdom to these situations.
Yeah.
And you are supposed to be better.
Yeah. And do better.
So now, okay.
So then as we are getting older, we're in Houston. I originally moved to Houston because, not to say it was the furthest thing away from home, but the market that I wanted to be in was there. We're young, so a road trip is nothing.
Yeah.
To travel, nothing to get on the road for the weekend. And
3.5 hours is nothing.
3.5 hours. I feel like it was less than that or more than that.
Well, I mean, doorstep to doorstep it may have been, but city to city.
Leadfoot over here. Yeah.
3.5, 4. Doorstep to doorstep 4, but 3.5. Because when you hit Houston, you're gonna hit some traffic.
Oh yeah.
So, and we stayed on the south side.
The south side.
South side still holding.
So it was nothing to get on the road for the weekends if we needed to. Then, as we were getting older, we see our parents getting older. First, I guess let's tackle us. Those road trips start getting kind of old right along with us.
Yeah.
And we figured maybe we need to consider another location that's closer to home.
Yeah, because now we did consider other places that were further from home. But then again, the age thing was, oh man, our parents, they're not going to be able to, eventually they're going to slow down even more so.
If we're slowing down.
Yeah.
Surely. Yeah.
When we have kids, we want to make sure that our parents are, going to be able to experience their childhood without having to overextend themselves to a certain degree, right?
Right.
And so these are things that I'm sure in our 20s we probably would not have taken.
No, I surely
into
didn't.
consideration as much.
I surely did not.
So then, we start looking closer, like maybe moving closer to home, which our hometown or where we grew up. That is probably going to make more sense for us.
Yeah.
And then, you got to think about, we're thinking about careers and we're thinking about school districts.
Thinking about retirement.
And
I need to make some adjustments to my 401k anyway.
And we're also thinking about growing our family.
Yeah.
How many do we want kids? Okay, I think that was pretty much a consensus before we got married. But how many kids? How how far do we want them spaced out?
Right. What does that look like financially?
What does that look like financially? What does that look like physically? Because now, we are in our 30s and hearing some of the story, and we didn't have a lot of close friends at the time. Well, not a lot that had kids. At least I didn't.
I really didn't have friends that had a lot of kids either.
But then hearing stories though from people about babies, and what those first few years look like and what they look like in a marriage, you start to think about those things. And so that's led us on up until
today. So today we are considering, of course, the kids and the parents at this point. Yeah. Should something happen, God forbid, to any of them, how would we be able to get to them? How close do we need to be? So we decided to relocate. So we're closer. So not only so they could experience and enjoy their grandkids, but so that we can get to them should something happen,
Yep.
because they are getting older.
Yep.
And we needed a quick, fast way and inexpensive way to do so. Even considering, do we purchase some land and build on it so that should somebody in the family, because we are all getting older, should somebody in the family need a place to stay, they can do that. So just considering all of that.
Physically, I will say that in my family, especially my immediate family, I didn't grow up seeing a lot of sickness. Was not something that I really grew up seeing a lot of, in my family. So part of me eating unhealthily was, I didn't see people shooting themselves and taking pills.
Right.
But realizing that, hey, it can happen to anybody.
Right.
And then seeing my parents go through certain situations health-wise made me realize, like, man, they aren't going to be here forever. Yeah. I'm not going to be here forever. Trying to do things that is going to help me live and afford me to live a healthy life while I am here.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, just kind of coming, like being mid-30s now, realizing that tomorrow's not promised.
Do what you can while you're here.
Yes.
And plan for what could happen.
Yeah. And making the days count, not putting things off until whenever. Right.
Thinking that we're not in our 20s thinking we have the rest of our lives ahead of us. Like, God willing, we have plenty more years on this earth together, but understanding that anything can happen.
Yeah. And making those adjustments where we needed to. So financially, trying to eliminate debt so that, the investment goals that we have set for ourselves will be easily obtainable. Physically realizing that, we do have to stay on top of things and not, in my 20s, I went a couple years, few years here and there, like, with no insurance and just.
That hurt me to hear you say that.
Yeah. Hey, it hurt me. It hurt me, but once, got off of parents' income and now working jobs that don't necessarily offer insurance, get it how you live, right? It's not like, okay, 40 years when you're 25 is different from 40 years. And I'm talking about, like, an investment plan or whatever when you're 35.
Right.
Or saying 25 years from now when you're 25 is different when you're 35 and you're saying 25 years from now. So if you're listening and you're a young couple, or you're a young single person, compound interest is your friend. Start early.
Yes. And if you are working for someone else and they offer a match, take the match.
Yeah. And at the very least.
Yeah. At the very least. Save more if you can.
Yeah.
But take the match.
Yeah, definitely. And like, even now, just realizing that we need to do certain things now. Like, even if you're not in your 20s, if you are in your 30s or 40s or knocking on 50's door, if you're in your 50s, like, just start. Sometimes you hear these stories of people and where they are in their finances or planning for the future. Just realize that, you may not feel like you could achieve whatever it is that they have achieved, but you could do what you can do.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we are where we are. Let's work toward where we want to be, starting like here.
Yeah.
And not waiting.
I wish the work would stop, but it doesn't.
Oh, no.
No, you got to readjust and adjust where you can.
Yep.
Keep on working at the goal. That's what we're doing. Aging. It beats the alternative.
Come on. I told my students that yesterday, or was it the day before, I was walking up the stairs and my knee was...
Was it popping?
No, it was like it was paining me though. And, I was walking and I was like, ooh. And they were like, you okay, Mr. McDowell? And I was like, yeah, just old age. It was a young boy. He made a comment about something. And I was like, I said, well, prayerfully you guys will get to know what it feels like one day. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh no, I don't want to, you know, and I was like, well, I'm more so speaking of, you know, getting old. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I don't want to get old. And I was like, well,
if you don't get old,
yeah, the alternative is that you're no longer living. So
right.
Prayerfully you get old one day, and you know, just embracing it. You know, I think being old is one of the worst things you could think of being, you know, at one point in time. But now you embrace it. You like, okay, it's coming.
I'm trying.
Yeah, well, you know, I 36, right? I realized that there's a lot of people that have accomplished so much that we look up to. And they got started around this age.
Yeah.
You know, and not saying they got started, but
it started clicking for them.
It started clicking for them. Their break kind of came around this time. Like they had been putting in work.
Yeah.
And so I keep that in mind. Like, you know, God's timing is definitely different from our timing. Yeah. And just because, you know, somebody may have started in their teens or 20s or whatever, doesn't discount the work that you've been doing or that, you know, you'll never have a seat at the table per se.
Yeah.
That you just keep doing what you know is right to do. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you can't really control the rest. Do what you can do and pray about the rest. Leave it up to God. And
God is working on me. I mean, like I said, it definitely beats the alternative. But I think about it every day. I'm like, here I am in my mid-30s. Came so fast.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it just came so fast. So it's so important to appreciate every single day. God willing, I'll be able to look back on this time and say, gosh, 35, I should have just shut my mouth complaining and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I plan on enjoying this time.
And, you know, looking back over the 35 years I've been on this earth, I can definitely say I'm proud of what I've accomplished, the lives that I've been able to touch, the people that have, you know, inspired and touched me. If I were to lose my life this day, I can say that, you know, I have things that I could be proud of. I thank God for what he's taken me through, where he's brought me from, and where I am today.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, growing older, you should learn to appreciate what has already been, where you are right now, and then, you know, the possibilities for the future.
And even if that's not the case, you're alive right now and it's not too late. So
yeah,
God has blessed us with another day to get it right.
Definitely. We're talking about us, but then we look at our parents, and depending on when your parents had, you know, some parents are older than others. So now, I do this often. I think, like, how old was I when my parents was the age I am now? So I was about 10, about fifth grade. And I'm thinking about my parents at that time. I'm like,
don't they seem old? Like, I look back and I'm like, my parents they seem old at that time.
Yeah.
My parents have always just seemed older.
He was just 30. So, yeah. Shout out to our parents.
I know when you start doing the math, you're like 20 years ago, we were in our teens. It doesn't seem that long ago. So you think for them, like 20, 30 years ago, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Life is but a vapor for real. It goes by fast.
Yeah.
We hope we gave you some things to consider if you haven't considered it. And of course, as always, we would love to know what your thoughts are on the subject. You can hit us up on social media, as always, Instagram, Twitter, on our website, themaritalmission.com. You can even hit us up on Facebook. We're not as active on Facebook anymore, but you can still drop us a line and we'll respond. And you can also contact us through email, contact@themaritalmission.com. Anything else, baby?
And share the episodes with your friends.
Yes. if it's just one person that you feel that would be blessed by any of the episodes, or if you just want to say, hey, I've been listening to this podcast, maybe you would enjoy it too. Just one person. Yep. Pass it along, share it, like it, subscribe, follow.
Rate and review. That should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Think we can pray this thing out?
Most definitely.
All right.
Lord, thank you for this episode. We ask that it would bless the hearers just like it has blessed us. Thank you. In your son Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. All right, guys. We'll see you next episode.